What's going on, guys? It's your boy Scrub here, back again with another video. Hope you guys are all having an absolutely incredible day. I know I am. If you are, be sure to press the like button. Otherwise, no joke, no scam. Edward from Twilight will break into your room and bite you on the neck. Yes, yeah, last night he came into my room and he said, "Hey man, don't ask me how I'm here or how I got into your house, but I'm gonna bite you." And then he bit me and it was really awkward, you know. I definitely was not a giant fan of it. And if you don't want that to happen to you, then you have to press the like button, guys. As you guys can tell from the title, today I'm gonna be telling a story about a neighbor that's not Karen, all right? I know what you guys are thinking. Ryan, Karen's the only neighbor that we care about. And there is going to be an update about Karen at the end of the video, so if you want, watch to the end, or you can skip to the end. I don't really care, but the update's in there. But I know you guys love it when I tell stories about my crazy neighbors, so that's what I'm going to be doing today. Basically, today I'm going to be telling the story about this kid in my neighborhood that legitimately thought he was a vampire and started a vampire cult by biting kids. Definitely a bit of a weird fellow, so yeah, hopefully you guys will think it's entertaining. I'm pretty sure you will. And yeah, without further ado, let's get into it. I think everybody had the group of kids in their neighborhood that they would hang out with by the electric box after school and like ride bikes and stuff, you know? That was pretty normal. There was this one kid in our neighborhood though that was a couple years older than most of the kids. Like, I think I was 7 or 8 at the time, and I think he was 12 or 13. Like, he was enough older where we didn't really like hang out with him, you know, but he was also young enough where he could kind of hang out with us if we wanted. And he was just a weird kid. Like, most other kids in the neighborhood were pretty normal, 6, 7, 8, 9, you know, in that general age range, pretty close together. And we would just ride bikes at the electrical box and hang out. But I don't know if this kid just didn't have enough attention at home or what, but his edgy gene was like on X12 mode, because when we would all be hanging out at the electrical box riding our bikes and stuff, he would be across the street wearing nothing but jeans and like long t-shirts and his mom embroidered sequined hat that was black. And like, whenever you would ask him why he was wearing that, he'd say, "I can't look at the sun, I'm a vampire. Now back away or my instincts are gonna make me bite you." And you know, me being me, you don't have to tell me twice. If you threaten to bite me if I get close to you, I'm just gonna stay away, because I'm not a big fan of edgy 12-year-olds wearing embroidered hats sinking their teeth into my clavicle. But hey, you know, that's just me. Sometimes people are into getting turned into vampires. I'm not personally a big fan of becoming a vampire, but if that's your thing, that's your thing. And this kid would wear long jeans and basically avoid the sun as much as humanly possible. He would hiss at you if you got too close. He was always saying edgy things about how he didn't know if he could control himself from biting people when he was around you. And call me crazy. If you can't control yourself from biting kids in the neighborhood, maybe you should get a therapist, because that's really not normal. Like, on a scale of normal, that's up there for one of the least normal things to ever exist. But hey, that's just me. And for the most part, he would keep to himself. But one day, we were riding bikes by the electrical box, and he walked up and asked if he could hang out. And we were like, sure, I guess. So people start asking him questions, and he starts telling us this story about how he's a vampire and how he knows he's going to be immortal forever, and he doesn't want anyone else to suffer the same fate, so he refuses to bite people. And you know, I'm 7, and I'm like, yeah, this is a lie. Like, this is so obviously a lie, whatever. So I ask, "Do you have any proof that you're a vampire?" And he says, "Yeah, I'll be right back." And he goes home, and I'm like, all right, well, I mean, if he has proof he's a vampire, then we'll believe it. And everyone's around me like, no, I think he's a vampire, dude, I really do. So he comes back with a Capri Sun, like one of the KoolAid Capri Suns with the red flavor in it, except he had like peeled off the label. In the early 2000s, you could take the label off of them. So instead of red KoolAid, it just had this red liquid in it. He goes, "This is the blood that the doctor gives me, so that way I don't have to feast on the innocents." And I'm like, oh, okay, so like it's KoolAid. And everyone's around me is like, oh my God, it's blood. So he drank this KoolAid pouch all dramatically by like biting into it with his teeth and sucking it out. And I'm just like trying not to laugh at this point, because it's laughably obvious to me that this is KoolAid, all right? I might be 7, but I understand bullcrap when I see it. And I can tell you right now, there is no way this kid is legitimately drinking blood out of a pouch in front of us all. Like, if he is a vampire, what an easy way to get caught. You're not doing a very good job of keeping your secret. So, you know, he leaves, and I'm like, bruh, that was fake. But I swear, all the kids around me just believed that he was a vampire. Like, I point out it's KoolAid, and the other kids in the neighborhood are arguing with me, saying, "Oh, no, it was blood, dude. There was no label on it. Like, trust me, I know KoolAid. That wasn't KoolAid." I'm like, so you guys legitimately think that this kid is a vampire? You guys, all of you, as a conscious, have decided that a kid in our neighborhood is a vampire. Like an immortal vampire that drinks blood from innocent people and then turns them immortal and turns them into vampires. And, you know, you'd think that'd be a wake-up call. You think that would make kids kind of be like, huh, you know, I didn't think about it that way. When you phrase it like that, it does sound a little bit ridiculous. But, you know, for some reason, that just doesn't resonate logically with them, and they are absolutely convinced that we are neighbors with a vampire. We are one of the only cities that has vampires now. But whatever, I guess the kids in my neighborhood were just brain dead or whatever, and they all actually believe that this kid is a vampire, and he's drinking blood, Ryan, come on. So after he leaves, I kind of tell everyone, like, yeah, we know this guy's full of crap, right? And for some reason, every other kid in the neighborhood is like, no, dude, he was drinking blood. Like, didn't you see it? And I'm like, dude, that was a KoolAid Capri Sun with the wrapper taken off. And they're like, nah, man, I know KoolAid when I see it. That was blood. Yeah, because blood smells like cherries. Okay, like, have you guys ever scraped your knee and like looked at your blood? It does not look like that. I'm sorry. But he convinces the entire group of kids in my neighborhood that he is legitimately a vampire. And me being 7, you know, I'm kind of like, huh, I mean, this is bizarre. This is not normal. So I go home and I ask my mom, and I'm like, Mom, are vampires real? And she's like, Ryan, of course not. Why would you believe that? So I tell her what's going on, and she thinks it's funny. And I mean, as an adult, I think it's kind of funny too. Some kid thinks he's a vampire. But she kind of tells me, no, he's not a vampire, but like, let the kids have their fun. They're probably playing a game. They probably don't actually think he's a vampire. And I'm like, huh. All right, maybe I should just let them mind their own business, and if they want to believe that he's a vampire, then they'll believe he's a vampire, and it's no skin off my back. All right, seems legit. So obviously, I'm a bit perplexed at the current situation that is going on in my vampireness, but hey, my mom said to let them live their life, so that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to back up. If you guys want to believe he's a vampire, then hey, more power to you. So the next day, I go outside, and that's when the problem starts to happen. You see, not only was Billy Joe Thornton over here convinced that he was a vampire, but he apparently convinced other kids that if he bit them, they would be vampires too, because the amount of kids covered in black clothing in 120-degree weather had basically doubled. There are now 3 kids sitting here looking at me wearing all black, and they're all acting all emo like, I need to control my urges, I don't want to have to bite you. And I'm like, bro, what is going on? And they proceed to tell me, well, last night after you went inside, we kept talking and we decided that the vampire community needed to grow, so he bit us. And they pull down their shirt, and they have like straight up bite marks on their collarbone. So after I left, let me get this straight. You guys decided that you're going to open a vampire cult in the neighborhood, all right? And then proceeded to let the strange kid that we've only hung out once bite you so hard that it can leave a bite mark for a day, and none of you saw any problems with this. Like, I'm 7, and I'm still sitting here wondering how you guys think this is a good idea. And they're like, well, you know, the vampire community is tight-knit, and it's a family, and it's a gang. So if you want to join, you have to understand that you can't betray us. Once you've made this commitment, it's a lifetime. And I'm like, dog, I'm not trying to get bit. You guys have a good time. But every other kid in the neighborhood is like, oh my God, I want to be a vampire. I want to be a vampire. Me, bite me. Like, bruh, there was some weird kids in this neighborhood. So, you know, I decide signing up for an actual lifetime commitment of vampire blood definitely isn't in my best interest, so I decide that I'm gonna go home, you know, I'm gonna go play some Sly Cooper on the good old PS2. I'm not getting involved with this at all. But every other kid steps up and I watch them bite each other, and it wasn't like just a gentle bite. These kids were trying to take chunks out of each other's collarbones, okay? I'm sorry, in every vampire movie I've seen, you just gotta take a little nibble on the neck, there's a little bit of blood, and that's it. But these kids were like, I must eat your clavicle. It was really looking whack. So, basically, I go inside. My mom's like, what are you doing in? You don't want to play with the kids? And I'm like, Mom, there is some weird stuff going on outside. I don't want to talk about it, but it's weird. And she's like, huh, what do you mean? And I'm like, I just don't want to talk about it. She's like, oh, okay. So she lets me play PlayStation. You know, I'm playing Sly Cooper. And maybe 20 minutes later, there's a knock on the door. And she opens it, and it's another one of the kids' parents sitting there. And she's like, hey, was Ryan involved? And my mom's like, was Ryan involved in what? What are you talking about? And she's like, the biting thing. And my mom's like, Ryan, come here. And so I walk up, and it's this other mom and my mom. They're like, were you involved in the biting thing? And I'm like, no, that's why I came inside. I thought it was weird. Like, I didn't want to get bitten. And the mom's like, well, what did you see? Because basically every other kid has bite marks. And I was like, well, the 13-year-old kid told everyone that he was a vampire and then brought KoolAid and told everybody that it was blood. And then he said that if you wanted to be a vampire, you had to bite each other. So he bit these 2 kids, and then they bit everybody else. And they were all like biting each other on the clavicle. And my mom's like, oh, like just biting? And the other kid's mom was like, no, like biting. Like there is chunks. Someone is bleeding. That's why this became an issue. And my mom kind of looks at me and she's like, why didn't you say anything? And I said, I told you it was weird. I told you there was vampires. And you were like, oh, let them do their thing. Like, I tried to warn you. And she's like, well, I didn't know people were biting each other. I said, it's why I came inside, Mom. Like, I wasn't trying to get bitten. So the other moms are like, okay, well, I'll let everybody know what you just told me. Ryan, good job not getting involved. Like, kudos. I'm like, yeah. You know, my mom taught me good enough to not get bit by strange people. That's not my favorite thing in the world. No offense. And yeah, after that, there was only brought up one more time. I asked my mom what ended up happening, and the 12-year-old kid basically got therapy and wasn't allowed to hang out with the neighborhood kids anymore, which is probably the right choice, you know, call me crazy, but if you start a vampire cult of 7-year-olds and have them running around biting each other, you definitely need a little bit of help. You've seen maybe a few too many vampire movies. The only other thing that ended up happening with Vampire Kid is he never really grew out of it, all right? Like, even up until when he graduated. He ended up graduating when I was a freshman or sophomore. He was still convinced that he was a vampire. Like, he was at my school, there was a whole clique of kids that was vampires. I don't know why he always wanted to start a vampire cult, but even in high school, he had people that were convinced that they were vampires and they couldn't go outside. And, you know, I will say it is kind of cringe that he would wear his mom's embroidered, like, sequined hat outside. You know, super, super intimidating. All you vampires out there, if you're listening, if you really want to strike fear into your victim's heart, just wear an embroidered hat from PacSun and everybody will shake in fear as you slowly walk up and bite them on the neck. But yeah, if you guys want more stories of Vampire Kid, let me know in the comment section down below. Like the video, and I definitely will do more. Today's notification shout out goes to one of the realest homies out there, one of the people that has supported me from day one. It's pretty impressive. I know you guys will be super impressed. It's Scrubby for life. Shout out to you. Thanks for having on notifications. If you want a notification shout out, send me proof of you having notifications on my Instagram @Scrubby. I do have an update on the Karen story, by the way. Basically, YouTube watched the video. I emailed back and forth with them, got in a live chat. They said that the information that the person reported did match my video, but when I told them it wasn't the real name, then I'm good. So the channel is going to be okay. We're going to be fine. But on that note, don't get anyone pregnant, guys. And if you do, make sure they're hot. And I'll see you guys tomorrow. I'm going to go start a vampire cult. Peace out.